place. So on that note, I'm going to just segue into the guitar in general and the stuff that you can do with it. As you heard, I did a little drum solo before, and it's not an original thing. You see Tommy Manuel, he's like the pro at it, but he inspired me to kind of do my own one. So the thing is that actually when I was a little kid growing up, maybe about 12, I was sort of doing percussion stuff back then, just didn't know it was doable in a band until much later years. But I was in Williams Lake, and I was swimming in a dirty creek, and like next to the sewage plant kind of thing.
Down Williams.
Healthy.
Yeah, down in Williams, and I ended up getting yellow jaundice. So as a kid, I was down for about 4 or 5 months in the house. So my mom said, "Can we get you an instrument or something?" And we lived in a tiny little apartment, and I said, "Yeah, I want drums." Not gonna happen, son, right? "I want an electric guitar." Not gonna happen, son. So she was smart and got me an acoustic, and I think I played Satisfaction 1 billion times. But then I kind of noticed one day, I was kind of going, "Wait a minute, take that, Ma. There's my drums. Whoa, take that, Ma." And then I finally figured you've got hi-hats kind of here, so you can go. That's like the basic version. You know, these great sounds, right? You got a built-in drum kit. The trick is to try to put them all together, right? So to give an example, got your kick going, hi-hat, now you need a bass line. And you have to have a rhythm and a melody. Simple. That's it. The only part is,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is once you get past the rhythmic thing, right?
It's like a cajon with strings.
So maybe I'll kind of show you guys a variation of how to get going with that. But so I'll just get everybody who has guitars here to put them in their hands now. We're kind of good to go. And one of the things, there's different types of fingerstyle guys who would just hit on the string and not use the body, and that's their way of slapping. But in my case, I actually swing the wrist, and I come down with this fleshy part, and I'm actually hitting on there. Now if I just did the string's going to sound like this. If I just did the thump by itself, it sounds like this. When you do both together, it sounds like, so you get like a morphed sound, right? And then I can kind of go off and try to find a good snare sound. Hit it up here, right there, even on the fingerboard. Everybody getting that? The way to probably do it is to probably bring the wrist back a bit and get more closer to the bridge. Therefore, you're hitting it sooner because you go get a longer swing. And the idea is that when you come down with this, it's like a hammered dulcimer or piano. You're striking the string, so it's like a pendulum swing, and it's just on that cusp that you're catching the strings. Like a. Everybody got that? Okay. So now you come off and catch your snare, right? We're doubling the kick. Now, the beauty of the acoustic with these sounds is you can make, when you hear a live drum set, it's the variations and the subtleties that really make it, right? So sometimes I might drop the hand from hitting there, sometimes I'll move it around just so I get little different colors that you probably wouldn't notice until you listen really closely, right? So you got that going on. Now what I want you to do is kind of brush up on the strings. Okay, so there's your, now let's try. So we're going to R D, so yeah, maybe I'd retune down to, here, just tune up. E, and G, and then C and D. Yeah. That's where I got that from. The variation is always that make it. Who's doing that? It's really nice. That's not me doing that.
Don't get self-conscious.
There's somebody doing song. That's like nice. Who's guilty of that? It's you. Beautiful, man. I love it. Catching in between those. So, and that's the beauty. You can do whatever you want with it and create your own colors with it, find your own spots on it. So, I'm going to break down that piece a bit more, but here's what we're kind of trying to want to do with it. Get you started on something like that, and you can go home and work on your own things. But I want to show you maybe
go home and drive your wife mad.
Yeah, and the dogs.
Sound like a beatbox almost. That was really cool.
So I just want to show you maybe another real strong consideration with acoustic, and that is vibrato. And I think in your left-hand touch is really what kind of defines you as a player, I think. You know, and vibrato is a big part of that tool set. Like you look at identities like B.B. King, he's got that crazy vibrato like that. Is that what he does, or he goes up or something like that, right? So I'm just going to run through the different vibratos on acoustic, which are pretty much the same as electric. So you know, you got your side to side. Just like a slight rocking, right? You want to try that? Just yeah, this is a side, and don't go. The thing is, everyone wants to go fast because you're trying to get it out of the fret. If you actually go really slow and dig a bit deeper, you can actually get the hamana. So let's once again. And learning how to do this properly will, when you do a piece, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes, you can blend all four of them in, and it actually gives you just a really nice feel and shape, right? So that's one. Then they have the obvious one where you're bending up and down. That's probably the easiest one, right? Now on acoustic guitar, there's one other really, really cool one. That is, that's kind of coming off of a neck bend. So I'm actually holding the guitar a little bit to my body, kind of rocking it. And the beauty is I can control the variance of speed. It's pretty neat, sweet little technique. You guys want to try that, or? Can you hear it, or is it? Okay. It takes a bit of effort because you have to actually hold the body pretty snug and rock the neck. So you gotta. It's one of those feel things. You just gotta kind of.
Don't snap your necks.
Yeah, don't snap your necks. It shouldn't stay. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah. Now there's one last one, which is I'm not sure if it sounds you can hear electrically, but it's pretty groovy, and it's just based on what actually comes from the classical world, where they teach you when you play guitar, you shouldn't touch your body at all, right? It should be out like that, and you should be doing this kind of thing. Most of us hold the body pretty snug to our body. And let me give you an example of what that sounds like. Okay, you're not going to hear it electrically, but okay, so you have to listen really closely to this. Here's the guitar out. Hear the difference? Big difference, right? So if I use that as an effect, what I can do is I can use my arm to kind of put weight on the guitar and do. Shoot. Can you hear that up there?
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Like a little wah-wah pedal, right?
That's cool.
So you're actually pushing on the top of the guitar when
Yeah.
you're doing that?
And I'm taking my hand and releasing the
So the sound, changing the air pressure when you sound will.
It's that partially, but it's mostly this.
Oh yeah, I hear
Yeah,
that.
just pushing it on
Yeah.
top of it.
And then I guess when you do the hand sweep up, maybe it pushes out a little bit more, right? So with those kind of techniques, now you can do stuff like so I'm going to play a little piece, and I just want you to kind of watch for the various little colors, because in the end of the day, the acoustic is just going to sound straight strings. It's up to you to use that left hand and right hand to really kind of shape and make it have colors and stuff like that, right? And so this kind of piece is kind of trying to use all those kind of different tools. such a range of expression the vibrato, the left hand, right? You know, other techniques you can incorporate into playing would be some of these things called false harmonics, and that's becoming a real popular thing lately. One thing I'd like to stress to anybody who's writing music stuff is that you always use the embellishment, we always use the gimmick for the sake of the composition, not the gimmick for the sake of the gimmick. And what's happening now is a lot of guys on YouTube are going, 10 minutes later they're doing, and 5 minutes later it's, and 10 minutes later, like doing these little pentatonic things where there's no music, it's just a kind of ambience soundscape, which I guess is fine, but I've always tried to incorporate using the gimmicks just to embellish, right? Because you have to entertain. I mean, we're in an industry where, you know, nobody wants to just listen to a 10-minute guitar solo anymore. They want to be entertained. So if you can make it entertaining, that's fine. But you always have to look for those kind of angles of blending the two. So maybe I'll give you an example of, you know, this false harmonics are done with. Have you guys seen this before? It's becoming pretty common now, right? So all I'm really doing is, if I take my left hand and I just drum harmonics, that same touch you're doing there is going to come off of this index finger. And all I'm doing is I'm taking the thumb from behind and plucking the string while it's slightly touching. So. You guys want to try that? Or? And interestingly enough, this is working off of intervals. So that's a 12 fret version. You can also do all these other variations. And the other beauty is that if you took your first fret and went to the 13th fret, let me do that here. So there's harmonics all over the place you can grab by grabbing those, right?
On every fret.
On every fret, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have guys like Tommy that are doing actually whole chords around this kind of technique, right? And when you advance, it's not just these two, now you're actually getting these two kind of going, so it's like a... So I'll do a little piece to show you how you might use something like that. Okay, so if I'm gonna blow up your batteries here.
He's not going to borrow them, he's going to steal them.
Yeah.
We got him for him, so that's okay.
Batteries are down here. So it gives you a battery warning. This is a real pretty thing. Don't mix it up. Oh, hey, these are the same ones I got.
I like the fact you can slip the battery pack out.
Yeah, and you can interchange with any unit. So it's very cool that way. So if you're writing, a concept for writing would be to kind of write your song first, always try to find a really great melody, and then interject the things later on, and just do it in bits and pieces. So here's an example of doing exactly that. There's kind of a